Thank you for joining me on my masterclass. Now, 4 days ago, I did a video encouraging people to get their money out of banks and put it in the stock market. Now, the reason why I did that video is because we're going to have new minimum wages in Nigeria at the federal, state, and local government levels. And I told people in that video that as soon as the minimum wage is increased, what's going to happen is that there's going to be an increase in the money in circulation, the currency in circulation, and that's going to result in inflation. And when you have inflation, the amount of money that you have in the bank, becomes devalued, not necessarily because the government has devalued it, but just by an operation of market economics. And so people took that the wrong way. They thought I was talking about that banks were going to collapse. No, that's not what I was saying at all. Look, right now the minimum wage in Nigeria is 30,000 naira. Now, if they are going to increase the minimum wage to about 62,000 naira, which is the figure that they're banding about, it's not been agreed on, that means that the minimum wage is going to increase by 100%. It's going to double. So now you just imagine people having twice the amount of money that they used to have. They go to the market, their purchasing power has increased. There's going to be a lot of money purchasing just few goods, and that's going to lead to an increase in the price of goods, and it's going to devalue currency. And as a result of that, I said to protect themselves, people should buy stocks, because stocks, they tend to have inflation proof better than currency. Now, that was what I was trying to say. I'm not saying that banks are going to collapse. In Nigeria, I mentioned the bank in passing, less than 15 seconds. I mentioned Fidelity Bank because there was a story in Bloomberg, and I made a reference to that story. Now, if you read that story in Bloomberg, which I did, what a lot of people, maybe because English is not our mother tongue, so obviously you can't blame people for taking things out of context, but especially when you speak in English. Well, I made a reference to that story, and if you read that story, Bloomberg had talked about Fidelity Bank stocks, their price going down because of the new CBN recapitalization policy. Now, the thing that Bloomberg did not mention in that story is that happened with all banks, not just with Fidelity Bank. It happened with all banks. Another thing that Bloomberg did not mention in that story is that Fidelity Bank stock went back up. Now, they should have mentioned that, but they didn't mention that. Maybe because, it's the story, probably they have limitations, 2,000 words, I don't know. But they didn't mention that. Now, if you're watching this, Fidelity Bank is a sound bank. I read their financials, I read their earnings report, their last quarterly earnings report. This is a bank that's about to, give out a record profit. They're paying tax to the government at record levels. They are not sacking staff, they're actually hiring more staff. So the bank is healthy. What I just meant generally is that this new minimum wage that's going to come is going to come with inflation. There's nothing you can do about it. It is not a reflection on the state of banks in general and Fidelity Bank in particular. In fact, take the money and buy stocks in Fidelity Bank. Buy their stocks on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, because Fidelity Bank is a solid bank. So their stocks are going to be better than having currency or cash in the bank. So it's a good idea. Now, I want people to understand this, just as I was willing to put aside my political differences with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then a candidate, and I went to Chicago State University to verify that he actually did attend and graduate from Chicago State University. A lot of all these people that were saying that they didn't go. I went. I was the only person I went with my money. The same way, I'm not going to say that because Fidelity Bank has an affinity or is affiliated with Peter Obi, then because people would have misconstrued this, and I'll say, oh yeah, I have political differences with him, let them just go with their feelings. No, I have more honor than that. I'm willing to put aside my political difference with Peter Obi to say that, look, this bank, although he has substantial shares in that bank, it is a healthy bank, and the bank is doing very, very well. I will put my own money in that bank. So having said that, I want to encourage people, please don't take my words out of context. Banks in Nigeria are doing very strongly. Heritage Bank is just an anomaly. It's an exception to the rule. And of all the banks, Fidelity Bank is one of the strongest banks. Buy their stock. Buy the stock of Fidelity Bank, because your money, when you're going to have an inflation, is better secured in stocks. But if you don't want to buy Fidelity Bank stock, that's okay. But buy stocks, especially blue chip stock. Now, if you watch this, you got questions arising from this, put it in the comment section. I'll do my best to respond to your comments. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.